Hi, it's Geoff here from discoverdoublebass.com. Thanks for joining me for another one of these video lessons. And if you'd like to access more, please go and check out the website. And if you become a subscriber to the newsletter, you'll get a whole load of more extra stuff and all of my best material, really. Well, today we're going to be talking about how to play using the first part of thumb position. And it's a transitional part into thumb position where we're not actually using the thumb, but we're playing the G harmonic. One of the most common questions I get asked is, why am I not able to use my little finger for this G harmonic? And I'm going to explain the answer to that, show you why it's so important, and I'll of course talk you through the riff that you heard at the beginning of the lesson, where you'll see me playing using this particular area of the bass. So let's get stuck into the detail. The key to understanding thumb position is to actually understand the preceding notes. So just to recap for those of you who don't know, thumb position generally starts, certainly for beginners, at the G harmonic. So you find the G harmonic, which is quite prominent on the double bass, and then you put your thumb down and you essentially play in the higher register of the bass. Now, what we need to understand is how we get there. It's really crucial to look at the process, and the notes leading up to thumb position are really important. And if you don't understand how to use the neck heel, please follow the link that will be in the lesson notes above the video if you're watching on discoverdoublebass.com, and watch that lesson, because there's a really important process to do with playing with the neck heel in position 1, 2 and 3. Now, when you understand these positions, you can then start to think about playing the G harmonic, which is the last note that we play before we switch over and start using our thumb. And I always ask people, we're playing in the lower position with our little finger, so you'd expect to use the little finger, and it is possible to just hit the harmonic with your little finger quite easily. But there's a real problem about why that is not such a great idea. And that's because, one, you're going to really struggle to actually finger the note because the angle is really quite awkward. You're getting to this point where essentially you need to be positioned slightly differently to normal playing, and it's not really very comfortable playing that note. So the third finger will help you more because it's sort of like a transitional thing into thumb position. So I'll get to that in just a moment. But there's an even more important reason, which is that we also want to be able to not only play the actual note so we can get vibrato rather than just the harmonic, but also we want to play the notes underneath it. And let's have a look at what we've got here. We've got the G, so I find it by finding the harmonic, and then I play the pitch, and they're hopefully the same. And we've got G, F sharp, F. What you should be able to do is go from the D, E flat E, F sharp, G. So please practice this chromatic leading. Or even the first part of your D major scale, D, E, F sharp, G. But when I play that F sharp, my hand is in the right position. So the fingers are equally divided. In fact, that's actually good. That's another exercise I'd like to give you. So there's two. There's the chromatic one from D, and you're going to need to lift your elbow up so you can get the arm round and try and keep this finger bent. If it's flat like that, then you'll be pushing into the knuckle. So the chromatic one, but also G major. So I'd like you to use this fingering: G, A, B with the second finger, C with the little finger, and you can test that note's correct by playing the harmonic. D, E, which you should be able to find if you understand the neck heel lesson, you'll be able to find that quite easily. And then these last couple of notes, F sharp, which you can test against the D because it's a nice major third, and the G. So when I'm in thumb position, I'm actually playing with the neck of the bass against my shoulder. as opposed to when I'm playing in a normal position and the bass is more upright. It's still leaning towards me, but I'm not playing in these lower positions with my neck against the shoulder. However, the bass neck, this really helps me in standing position to be really comfortable with thumb position. Essentially my legs are just evenly spaced, but the bass is really secure. A little side note, when I'm playing sat down, I don't tend to make as much contact, but I do make some in the further registers. But when you're playing standing up, this is really important. So now I'm feeling comfortable in thumb position. Now this note here is kind of halfway between the two, and it depends what we're going to be doing. The G harmonic, if I was just playing the two notes, I'll lean it back towards me, but maybe not stay in thumb position with the neck against my shoulder. However, and also my thumb is just around the side of the neck here. So if I just turn so you can see that, my thumb hasn't come across, it's just on the side. But if I was playing for a prolonged period of time, in this lower register, so this is thumb position below normal, the G harmonic, which I wouldn't recommend at first, I'd eventually move my thumb round. But for what we're doing, when we're just kind of trying to just actually finger these lower notes, the G harmonic and the lower ones, but maybe just the G and the F. It can be useful to go, to bring the neck towards your shoulder, but not necessarily stay there for prolonged periods of time. But only if you're going to be staying there for a more prolonged period of time. So if I was playing like this, back into normal position. To allow the neck of the bass to come towards the shoulder, we move the waist back. And this is quite good if you're playing a riff like the one that I'll show you in just a moment though, because you don't have to. I'm just allowing the bass neck to come nearer to me, but it doesn't actually make full contact with the shoulder. Of course, if I was playing that and then resting on those notes, now I'm in this sort of thumb position stance. So I'm bringing the bass towards me, not by stepping back, but by moving my waist backwards to allow the double bass to come towards me. Now, if I was playing for a little bit of a longer period of time, I might also move my left foot back. So let's have a look at what that looks like. You can see I'm just stood normally at the moment, and then I'm moving my left foot back to just whilst keeping my right foot in the same position. And this will help me if I'm just kind of coming in and out of it. Maybe I'm taking a solo and the bass is being brought back to me. But now I'd like to move, but my feet are further back. Now I'd like to move back into the normal position. Back into thumb position. And just because it's a brief one, I'm just going to allow my left foot to go back. So essentially you've got standing in normal position, this temporary kind of position if you're just blasting in and out of thumb position. And the reason why this is temporary is because your weight is on your right leg, not your left leg. And if we were in for a prolonged period of time, I'd actually just move slightly further back. So say I was playing something. Okay, well, now we're going to have a look at the riff that you heard at the beginning of the lesson that featured my friend Danny Maddox on the guitar helping out there. Now, he was playing a D minor chord to a C major chord, and the riff that I came up with to fit over the top of it is really just based on a D minor 7 arpeggio. In fact, it's got the 11th in there as well, and that note, the 11th, is the note that we land on at the top, and then back down to the 3rd. And the reason why I chose this as an example is because it's this transitional area into thumb position, hitting the G with my 3rd finger. And it's really important that I'm actually able to hammer this note on. It sounds really different to if I was to play the harmonic. So you really need to be able to properly pitch that note as a stopped note, not just as the harmonic. Okay, let's have a look at the riff. So what are we doing there? First of all, you're sliding into the note D. And this is one of those little things. It's not just starting normally on the note D, and if that was the case, I'd probably just use the open D, but I'm actually smudging into the note with a little bit of a slide, and that makes everything sound a lot more interesting. And then it's hammer on from the F to the G, and sliding up to the A, and then hammering on from the C to the D. So let's just do that really slowly. I'm just referencing my tuning on the harmonic. And now there's a little ghost note, and then the transitional area, which is the G to the F. And I'm playing the muted note first of all on the D string. Sorry. Okay. Slower. Okay, so what happens after that? I'm trying to think. Okay, there's a little fill leading us back into the riff before it starts over again. And again, muted note, which again is on the D string, and then D and G, and then sliding up to the starting note, the first note of the whole riff. And also I was putting in, on the spare beat that I had, the spare moment there, a sort of right hand slap as well. So so just before the final little lick bringing us back, it's so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next. And then towards the end of the riff, I was playing some kind of something down the D-7 arpeggio. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but some kind of rough thing like that. And I ended up playing these two harmonics, which I thought you might be interested in. The first one is just above the note D. And the next one is also the note D, but it's above, it sounds, the pitch is D, but it's directly above the G on the D string. You can hear that's the same note. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this first part of a series of lessons that I'm going to be doing for you on thumb position. This transitional area is really important. Make sure that you're bringing, the bass back, that you've understood all of the points that we've discussed, and I'll be bringing you the next lesson very shortly. So if you've enjoyed this one, please let me know by pressing like. It'll encourage me to do more like this. And if you haven't already been to see the website, please go and check that out. And I'll leave you with the riff that you heard at the beginning, which features the guitar player, Danny Maddox. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.